visibility, and I'm coming around the 44 loop, and apparently the semi that was in front of me didn't bother to make the loop. He just parked up on the hillside. I had to call 911 right in the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m., and worst parking spot ever.
I made it all the way to Terre Haute this morning in that same 500 feet visibility. The
Yeah,
entire freaking, it never burned off.
It was tight and tiny stuff.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
But
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Liquor Cabinet. We got your keys to a good time here. We're live on YouTube every Wednesday night, running a little short on time, getting started a little bit late tonight. But as always, please welcome my co-host. We got Ernie sitting to my left.
And I am all about that bass.
And to my right, normally we would have Dirty. He's not with us again this week. Not feeling the effects of the flu, but I think there might be a bigger issue that we've got the Clown Man, Jacko, with us tonight from South Broadway Athletic Club. The Clown Man, not in the normal gear we're used to seeing him in, but you had a confrontation with Dirty last month at South Broadway show, I think early February, where he had a problem with Demarius Jones and questioning his validity of citizenship, and Demarius involved you to help get his revenge on Dirty, I guess it was, when Dirty was supposed to be wearing a dress if Demarius is actually able to provide proof of citizenship, right?
Right. Well, no one really wants to see Dirty in a dress, so they came to me and was like, instead of wearing a dress, you're going to paint his face. So I'm like, okay.
And I was there, and they literally held Dirty down and painted his face right there on the stage in front of the entire crowd. And he had to sit there the rest of the night to do the live event for South Broadway Athletic Club in the MMWA wrestling show with a face paint job courtesy of Jacko, the Clown Man.
Well, he's a bigger man than I am, because I would have drawn filthy stuff all over him.
I believe that. I do believe that. Now, keep in mind, also while we're talking about South Broadway and MMWA, they're back in action this Saturday night, March 14th. St. Patrick's Parade Day early in the day. Later in the evening, we'll be dealing with the Dirty Heinous Show, which is a sister show of ours. Will be broadcasting live from the MMWA show, as I understand it. Dirty's expected back down there, but I really think you're the reason Dirty's not here tonight.
Well, sometimes people get scared of other people. I'm not saying anything that Dirty might be, afraid of me, but, the proof's in the pudding. He's not here.
And if he happens to show up tonight, do you happen to have your face paint with you just in case?
I do, actually.
All right, that'd be awesome. I would love to see Dirty get some makeup put on him once again.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
There you go. First F-bomb of the night. Chalk it down. Number one.
It's been a long day in the car.
All right, guys, we got a short show. We got a handful of things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about high school. We're going to talk about college. We're going to talk about dating. And assuming we have time for all this stuff, we'll talk a little more about the South Broadway stuff coming up. And Twitter is also a topic of conversation that's going to be trending itself. Twitter obviously follows trends, but Twitter itself trending this evening. It is Wednesday night, it's March 11th, 2015. Right. We're just after 8 o'clock. No live phone calls this week, people. We had a few technical difficulties. We're getting a late start, but we're going to be back with the phone calls hopefully next Wednesday night. We'll be back on the air live. 7 p.m. Central Time is our targeted time. Our wide launch, we're shooting for April at this point, so the next couple weeks will just be kind of filling the gaps and working out all the kinks. So make sure you tell your friends. Find us at liquorcabinettv.com. Every Wednesday night we'll have a new show for you. If you catch us live, you can be a part of it. If you catch us afterwards, share it with your friends, like it, thumbs up right down there at the bottom of the screen. Whatever it takes to help us get the word out about Liquor Cabinet TV. Like I said, we'll sit around and have a few cocktails. Tonight's show, once again, brought to you by Michelob Golden Light's my drink of choice. What are you guys drinking on?
I'm sticking with the soda.
The soda with the rum in it?
No.
Vodka?
No, just the normal.
Scotch?
Just the normal soda.
Ice cubes?
Yes, ice cubes.
Ernie, what do you got?
Pepsi. It's a breakfast of champions.
Wow, I'm being outdrank 2-1 on Pepsi. I think I just switched. No, it's a Liquor Cabinet show. Why would I not drink on the Liquor Cabinet?
I don't have a driver.
Yeah, either do I.
I got nothing.
Hey, all right. Like I said, it's coming to you live from Murphy's on 21 in St. Louis. Speaking of St. Louis, our first topic, we said we were going to talk about high school, college, and a few other things. Let's start with the high school topic. Francis Howell High School here in St. Louis. I don't know if it's north, south, or which one, but apparently a young lady's been suspended over her hair color. Apparently it's a disruption to the class. They're saying she was suspended over her hair color. I don't know all the details of it. Have you guys read anything or heard anything more about this?
I saw a picture of her. She didn't look that bad.
Like didn't look that bad, like she was cute, or didn't look that bad as in the color wasn't that off?
No, she looked like she had red hair.
Yes, exactly. That's the same picture I saw.
Was it a bright red hair, like a Bozo the Clown red hair? Which, sorry,
No.
Clown Man. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying in general. What is a distracting hair color? To me, about the only distracting hair color these days, especially after Katy Perry's doing the blue hair, and back to Annie Lennox with the bright red hair in the '80s. I mean, people have done every color under the moon at this point. The only hair color that would really jump out at me is somebody figure out a way to do plaid hair. I'd be impressed by that, but it would get my attention.
I've seen all types of hair colors: blue hair, red hair, leopard print hair. Actually,
That would be impressive.
but I mean, it's your hair color. I mean, just focus on teaching the children and stop focusing on trying to formalize everyone.
Well, now, and you're also dealing with the whole. We've all gone through it. We're all adults now, but we've all gone through that time in high school where we're trying to find our own niche. We're trying to figure out who we are. We're looking for attention. Sometimes we bark up the wrong tree. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we actually find out who we are, not necessarily in a good way, sometimes in a good way. But if she's reaching out, if she's looking for attention with her hair color and she's suspended, it makes the news, isn't she kind of getting exactly what she wants? Isn't that kind of akin to suspending someone for skipping school? They didn't want to be at school anyway.
There's got to be more to the story than what we've seen.
And I'm not pretending to be an
And
expert on it. That was just the
it's-
first topic.
If they're going to make that, there's dress codes that things are written black and white. I understand, blue hair and all that kind of stuff, but really there's so many different hair dyes and colors and tints and hues that there's no way you'll know if everybody's dyeing their hair on a regular basis unless they show up one day it's black, the next day it's blue. I personally don't give a crap if it doesn't violate the dress code. I'm more concerned with 14-year-old girls wearing yoga pants and thongs than I am about different colored hair. Mainly because I have a 15-year-old daughter. So, no, I think it was something that was blown completely out of proportion. And there's, just on the surface from what I've read about it, there has to be more to it than what we've seen.
So if it's just the hair color, we're all kind of in agreement that that's not really a good violation of or use of suspension powers?
I think she's got one of a lawsuit.
Pretty much.
You're going to be a lawyer one of these days when you grow up.
Hopefully.
The Clown Man Jacko, the lawyer. That could be like an SNL sketch. That's right up there with Frozen Caveman Lawyer.
Well, and again, not to
Jocko
insult
the
you, but
Clown Man
I'm
lawyer.
picturing the old car horn for an objection.
Okay. That's a gimmick right there for you.
Okay.
All right, so we'll revisit that one if we find out more information about it, but as it stands right now, that should probably not be newsworthy, with the exception of embarrassing the administration for laying down a suspension. The next one, we talked about high school. Let's jump up to college. Oklahoma this week, the news coming out that a fraternity has been kicked off campus. They've been shut down. The SAE fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, I believe it is, in Oklahoma, after a video surfaced, a short video clip, 30 seconds or so, over something that happened on a bus trip. You guys familiar with this story yet?
Yeah.
And it's somewhat embarrassing, not only for the fraternity, but for 2015, if you ask me. There's differing opinions on it. It was the fraternity chanting a very racist, I don't even know what you want to call it. You say it's a song, I guess more of a chant, but it was something I would expect to have heard 80 years ago.
Racist limerick.
Yeah, okay. And I don't know what the origin of it was or why it was being uttered, but the fact that it was being uttered, it was, there'll never be an N-word in SAE, and there was talking about hanging from a tree, and just it was just vulgar in general, regardless of what your thoughts on race or anything else are. It's simply just, it was rude, in the least it was rude. At most, it was completely unacceptable and vulgar. I think the University of Oklahoma, I believe that was the school, I know it was in Oklahoma.
It was the University of Oklahoma.
Okay, I believe they handled it perfectly. They hit it quickly, they hit it swiftly, they hit it hard, and the fraternity got shut down over something they're just not willing to tolerate or accept. That's my take on it. What do you guys think?
Well, I would say that, I mean, it seems kind of harsh because what I do know of the punishment is that the fraternity was shut down and 2 of the students were actually expelled.
I did hear that.
Now, yes, it was offensive on so many levels, and I don't agree with it at all. But they didn't actually hang anybody. They didn't actually hurt anybody. What they said was offensive, but I mean, I believe they should be punished. But expulsion, and it's going to follow these kids for the rest of their lives. So I mean, they should have some sort of. I don't know. I just think expulsion might have gone a little too far on the individual two who were expelled. Other than that, I think the university probably handled it right.
I think it should have been left to the fraternity, since they were singing about the fraternity. I don't, the college did what they did for fear that they might look racist.
I mean, it's 2015.
No. The
yeah.
college is there to educate these kids. If they allow that to happen, what education are you giving them? You're letting them teach you.
We should be teaching them that the freedom of speech is bad, and you can be crucified for whatever you choose to say.
Oh, I don't think you could be more wrong on this one. That's not teaching them freedom of speech is bad. That's showing them that there's ramifications for abusing freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a
disagree.
right.
There's a difference between freedom of speech and hate speech.
Well, no. Well, that's just hate speech is point of view.
Well, I do understand, and again, this is almost getting into legal territory already as far as perspective goes.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still talking about a situation where it's not a cut and dry freedom of speech issue, because what you're talking about is almost a threatening comment when they're talking about hanging people from trees based on their skin color. That's not acceptable in 2015.
Well,
I mean, God forbid we're actually a society that allowed people to still hang from trees for crimes, not based on their skin color, but based on actions. I would almost be for that. I don't have a problem with the idea of the Southern justice mentality of, hey, if you commit a crime against another person, we're going to take you out, put you on a tree, hang you on a rope in front of the entire town to see, make an example of you. I think that would curb a lot of crime. We're almost too easy on criminals these days. But that's, again, the severity of the crime is part of the criteria. But as far as you're talking about, this isn't a freedom of speech issue.
No.
They had the right to speak whatever they wanted. The mistake I think they made is, where do you draw the line as far as they recorded this and it made it to the internet?
That's
Somebody
what I'm saying.
inside recorded this and wanted it out.
yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't the
he
people
felt
chanting it.
And how many records have gone platinum with the same language, same words on them, and it's okay, it's art.
Now you're talking context and perspective. That's a different part of the game.
What I'm saying is, if that word is going to be offensive here, it needs to be offensive everywhere.
And I think,
And again, I don't think you can legislate that with freedom of speech.
but I don't think you have a valid argument there, because I think to the policymakers involved here, you're talking the dean of admissions or whoever's in charge of the college, whoever made the call to disband the fraternity. I think he would be equally offended by that type of action, even if it was, say, a traditionally black fraternity. To use the N-word, there's a lot of black people I know that are offended by it, even in rap lyrics and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just a word that needs to die. Is the general feeling
let
I
it
get from
die.
most people.
But again, to me,
As long as somebody can get a rise out of it.
this is another case of it's primarily white people feeling that they heard something and they feel they should be offended, so they get offended and they overreact. And I mean, okay, I'm a white guy. Like, we can agree on that. So
Best I can tell.
It's never applied to me.
At least from the waist down, you're white.
Yeah, trust me, from the
Saw you
waist.
in the locker
Yeah.
room once.
But it's a fucking word. I don't. I know. I mean, I've heard people say things about me that are supposed to be offensive. It doesn't bother me.
It's not a matter of bothering somebody. It's a matter of the intent behind the words. The names alone. You can call me a son of a bitch all day long, and I'll just look at you. Why do you got to bring my mom into it? It's because you take it at a face value or you diffuse it, and people are only offended if they choose to be offended. You can be offended at heart, in my opinion, but it's not. The offense isn't the problem. It's the reaction to the offense. And yeah, there's certain people that just I won't talk to certain people that I know talk certain ways, and the things that come out of their mouth are not things that appeal to me. It's like, yeah, what are you accomplishing by doing that? You're not making friends. You're not impressing anyone. You're kind of making yourself look like an idiot. And
Well,
there's enough idiots out there right now. That I don't need more idiots in my world.
Let me clarify one thing. I've listened to the rant. I watched the video. Yeah, that's ignorant as hell. There's no doubt about it. That was some dumbass shit. However, I do believe in the Constitution, and we all have freedom of speech, and even you have freedom of speech no matter what you say and no matter how much it pisses me off, you still have it. And because I defend that, I have to support what you're saying. Well, I don't have to support what you're saying. I have to support your right to say it.
Okay, but let me put it in two simple questions for you, and maybe this will make a difference, maybe it won't. And Cloudman Jacko, maybe you can weigh in on this part of it, but simply, my freedom of speech, does that allow me to lie?
About what?
anything.
Sure.
Freedom of speech allows me to just blatantly tell lies.
It allows you to say what you want to say.
That's not true. There's already laws against libel and slander.
Okay.
So you can't just say anything. Freedom of speech is not an untouchable right. And that's the biggest part of it. So right there, we already established that you're not fully familiar with the idea of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech doesn't give you a right to just run into a theater and yell fire, so to speak. It doesn't. You can do it physically, but not legally.
Go on.
Okay, you missed the reaction. Okay, so I mean, that was the biggest part of it right there. Had you agreed with me, I would have had a follow-up, but no need for a follow-up in my opinion. Thoughts? Freedom of speech, where does it end?
Like I said before, you have the right to say whatever you want to say, but at the same time, hate speech should not be tolerated. I mean, it's in this day and age, we should have already evolved beyond that. You know, treating others as they should be treated. And what really, like specifically about the video, what really pings in my mind is that somebody recorded it, put it online, which means that they knew what was going to happen, so they must have been offended. Someone inside the fraternity.
Well, I do know it was leaked anonymously to someone else, and it went viral on Sunday night shortly after it happened.
Or somebody was looking to be paid.
Nobody's getting paid on this. It's shut down a fraternity. There's a lot of money involved in college fraternities at a school that size. And the kicker on it for me, and this is, we mentioned this briefly in some of our pre-show talk, is apparently this SAE fraternity has black alumni. How do you feel if you're one of the black alumni? I'm assuming none of them were on the bus singing along.
Or at
That's
Oklahoma.
just a guess. I don't know for certain.
Were they from University of Oklahoma?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they were apparently on the same campus because the same guys were talking about. In the video, you see him zoom in on one of the mothers who's going N-word, 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 N-word. And her defense is she was listening to there's a rap song playing in the background that she was singing along with. And that's where she was saying it. So
see, maybe we need more laws about being stupid.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between just sitting around and throwing the N-word around as casual banter and something you're okay with saying, and to some extent, it's when you get to the musical stuff is a little trickier. If I'm at karaoke night and I'm singing an NWA song, and I skip that word, am I being politically correct, or am I being too white, or am I? Where do you go? I mean, at what point is that acceptable, and to what audience? I mean, that's again back to your original point. Is perspective means a lot.
To me, because I've watched the karaoke and stuff like that, and that word, and again, it makes white people very uncomfortable, not because it offends them, because they're scared that they should be offended, I think, and that.
Well, I think it's the fear of offending someone else. I mean, that's a word that is never going to hurt me the way it could hurt someone else but the same way, like I said, you call me a son of a bitch, that's not going to offend me the way some other people would.
It's
you
a
tell
common
me
thing.
my mom's a dirty whore. It's not going to offend me like some other people will because I understand. You're just trying to get under my skin. You're not going to do it verbally.
No, you see it in comedy acts all the time. The comic will get up there, he'll make a racist joke. White people will look around for the black people to see if it's okay to laugh. You've seen it.
All right, do we got a transition here on our producer situation? Do we need to take a transition on our producer situation? I'm looking at the clock.
Well, that's either an option or we've got about 5 to go.
Let's just close it up in 5.
Close it. Oh, okay. We didn't even get to the good topics yet. All right, but we're still working on the techie side. Now, there's the big camera up there. Say hi, everyone, so they can everyone see it. Know that we're all here live. Okay. And we are live on YouTube, people. The chat room and such. We'll be back with that next week. Along with, you can call in next week. You can call in right now, but we're not going to answer the phone. 385-2-DRINK-1 will be the phone number. 385, area code 385-2-DRINK-1.
Interesting tidbit that actually Dirty's mom was trying to call in. I told her that it shut down this week. I just got word from that.
Oh, you had it driven to your phone already?
No, I just got confirmation that Dirty's mom was trying to call in to us.
Oh, okay. Dirty's mom loves calling us when she's naked. She might have been calling to find out if the Clown Man Jacko was still here, because I think that's why Dirty's not here, to be honest
And
with
she's
you.
naked.
That's my gut feeling, but he's not going to have a chance this Saturday night. He's going to be running head to head with you. He's going to butt heads with you. He'll cross paths at the South Broadway Athletics Show, wrestling show this coming Saturday night. That's downtown St. Louis for those in the area, down in the Soulard area. The company's been running wrestling shows monthly for almost 30 years now, I think, maybe even a little bit longer by now. But they've been around quite a while, 3 decades, and A great show. If you haven't been down there, go down and check it out. Take the whole family. It's family friendly. They do a great job. Cheap drinks, cheap food, and just you're not going to get a bang for your buck on a Saturday night for the entire family.
And if
But-
you're a people watcher, that's the place to be.
Okay, but let's jump into the next topic on the SAE stuff, and we're talking about that video you mentioned. Somebody wanted them shut down. Obviously, this is going to kind of transition in there. Somewhat of a segue is Twitter changed their rules this evening. Just earlier tonight, just hours before we went on the air, they released a terms of service change, apparently focused on revenge porn and unauthorized personal photos. I don't know how you police that overall, and apparently they've got it all worked out. Is revenge porn that big of an issue that Twitter has to revise their rules on what you can post and how and when?
I'm sure as hell going to look for it later, I'll tell you that much. If it's that big of a deal and that prevalent, I'm going to try to find some.
Well, now that you better hurry because they're changing the rules. As soon as it's reported, apparently they're taking it down.
Okay, read the rules.
I don't have the rules in front of me.
Okay, because you read them earlier.
I did. That was called prep work. You were supposed to listen then.
You shut your ass.
Well, if I do that, nobody's going to be talking. You're going to be looking at each other like, eh.
So before you can post content for somebody else, that you have to have their permission. Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Okay, so what if you don't have their permission and you post it anyway?
That's
oh my God, you just walked through a rule. What the hell?
No,
are you
no,
gonna do?
that's where the person can say, that's me and I don't want that up there. Take it down immediately.
Once it's up, it's up.
That's not true. Now, once it's out there, I get the logic that somebody probably screen saved it or captured it or shared it somewhere. But if it's a personal video you made with a girlfriend, or if it's something a girlfriend had of you getting out of the shower and she posted and you don't want it up there, Twitter's now saying they'll go ahead and take it down if you can prove it's you.
Depends on the temperature. Cold morning, I don't want those pictures out.
Have you ever had a warm morning?
Uh-huh.
That's not what I heard.
You have a good cock day?
I'm pretty sure that you talk a good game, sir.
Well, don't watch this one, kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, we just lost the clown.
Hey, I try to keep it honest. I don't need to go blue, but this guy over here, that's all he's got. He has a prideful day, and he's got to run with it, you know. They happen every blue moon, you know. But anyway, the Twitter changes. I really don't think it's something that is a huge deal, but again, I'm not a huge Twitter guy. I've got a Twitter account, STL Murph, but it's still, apparently it's a big enough issue that they've got to make a rule about it. Is that something you've ever experienced or know about in a personal context?
I actually barely use my Twitter. I'm gonna have to start doing that more often, self-promotion and everything. But I've never run into a situation like that. I would assume that, if you do that sort of thing, there's a trust issue involved, but I wouldn't go near that with a 10-foot pole.
If you do that sort of thing, there's an intelligence issue involved.
Well, and speaking of
Exactly.
intelligence, I think the core, the real thing there is simply don't have a bad breakup.
Well, no.
I get some breakups are ugly, and if somebody's cheating on you, I get the revenge idea. But in general, now don't get to that point with somebody who's going to do that. You can usually read somebody,
Now,
I
hold on.
think. But
I'd be willing to bet every guy here has probably received a photo via cell phone of a pair of boobs. Can we agree on that? Everybody's had that?
I can say that, yes, I have.
Okay. How many times do you tell the girl, I will delete that,
The Clownman Jacko is
and
pleading
it gets deleted? Guys never delete that. The only time that gets deleted is when the phone crashes.
There's probably some truth to that. You hold on to it. But at what point would you tarnish someone's reputation and share it
No, I
worldwide?
wouldn't. I wouldn't, because that is a low-life, shitty thing to do. But what I'm saying is you've got to raise your daughters. And that stuff's always out there. Never trust a guy, because they will keep that forever. I've seen me do it. I know. But my phone's crashed, so I don't have any of that. I haven't had that stuff for years. But
Like back in high school, when cell phones were big in the 90s?
no, actually, right after the divorce. My God, times were good. But anyway, that's about all I got to say about that.
So your daughter, is she a Twitter?
Unfortunately,
Is she a Snapchat person?
probably.
You probably have things going on that you don't want to know about.
I'm certain of it. Unless she lives with her best friend, so.
Okay, well, now, but you talked about the idea of raising them right. How do you steer them out of that boat?
Well, 2 weekends a month, I get to steer her into a good person.
No pun intended, of course. So you get half the responsibility, or 2 weekends, you said?
2 weekends.
Okay, so you get about a tenth of the time.
Yeah, if that.
So you can make sure at least a tenth of her is a good person. She probably didn't send pictures of her feet. That's almost 10%. Yep.
I'd key your car, but you wouldn't know which one it was.
Which car I've got or which key?
Which scratch.
Okay, well, I'll let you take a sledgehammer to one of them, but that's been years. that's a true story.
Had the cops called.
Yeah. All right, so we've got that was the next big topic, was the Twitter thing. The real core topic, I think we should save for another show, because we're going to be wrapping things up in just a couple minutes. I still, this is the third week in a row we haven't gotten to the idea of what are the rules, what are your thoughts on dating an ex's friend? And we're not going to get into that, but that's a
friend's
forthcoming
ex.
topic.
An ex's friend or a friend's ex?
Dating an ex's friend, and we can tie that into an ex's friend.
Okay.
But dating an ex's friend was my intention. We can tie it into dating a friend's ex. They're similar, and unfortunately, that's one of those, most people give different advice than they follow, but you find that all over the world. So that's coming up, and also next week, there's going to be a contest challenge issued. A contest challenge issue that's going to apply to everybody on the show. We're going to have something going on that you might want to follow, and it is going to create some havoc here on the show. I can't really reveal too much about it, but you want to tune in next Wednesday night. Hopefully we'll have everything up and running early. The computer won't want to do 179 updates to slow things down an hour and a half. We'll have the right USB cords. We'll have the right microphone plugs, and hopefully it's just a one-time. It's a new computer week, guys. We upgraded to an i7 with USB 3.0, which is like the coolest thing.
3-to-1 odds it still doesn't go off without a hitch.
I'm done. I got nothing.
What have I walked into?
You don't want